stop the presses. There's 24 hours of no alcohol sales coming up this week. We're also going to talk to you today about the results of the Cannabis draft law bill and former Prime Minister Thaksin getting parole, along with other topics about here in Pattaya and Thailand. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Adam. Let's go. Now, today, when you're watching this, will be February 19th, 2024, with Valentine's Day behind us. We're now moving into the next period of this month, which sees a religious holiday that takes place this weekend, Saturday, the 24th, Makabuka. Now, this particular religious holiday is one of the most important of the year. And along with all important religious holidays, it gives a couple of things. It gives a 3-day weekend from this Saturday up until the following Monday. But also on the actual day, Saturday the 24th, will be a 24-hour alcohol sales ban, which we know is very important to tourists and to people in the country. This also means that venues that primarily rely only on alcohol for entertainment, which includes nightclubs and bars, will be shut. Now, a question we get often is, will they be shut midnight to midnight? Will they be opening at midnight on the 24th early? Will they be open late the day before? That's usually a local decision. Officially, from a legal perspective, it's midnight to midnight of the actual day of Saturday. You will have to find something else to do, whatever that might be. Now, one thing that we could recommend that you do is that weekend is also the Kite Festival. Now, the Kite Festival originally started back during COVID-19 as an alternative event for Songkran, the water festival, because they basically banned Songkran and they said there couldn't be any water throwing, which we know some of our readers and expats loved. But regardless, they said instead they would start a kite festival so people could take pictures and enjoy the scenery, but it wouldn't involve people getting this close to each other. It actually ended up being really popular. So now we're going into about the third year or so of the Kite Festival, and it will take place this upcoming weekend, all weekend long on Pattaya Beach. In fact, it's going to be the biggest kite festival ever, so those of you who love seeing beautiful, huge kites shining above the sea and love being influencers or taking pictures for your social media and all your followers, make sure you get on down there and check it out. Same weekend as the religious holiday. So, for our next topic that we have, we're actually going to start off locally rather than nationally. We'll get to the national stories in a moment. By the time you watch this video, it will likely already have begun, is the Jomtien construction, which has made Jomtien Beach Road one-way for an unestimated period of time. This has really frustrated a lot of our local readers and viewers and people who are upset that the fact that they are making parts of Jomtien Beach Road, basically from the Dongtan police box all the way down to Soi Shayapru, one way. This is not a permanent change. This is only for road construction in this area to install new drains. The unfortunate part of it is, again, it's not estimated how long this will last. They refuse to give it, probably because they don't want to disappoint anybody, other than to say that the plan is to get this done before the next high season later this year. There's also some questions that have not been specifically answered by the city around how bot buses will work in and around this area. Unfortunately, we'll probably find this out possibly by the time you watch this video. It's likely to bring some pain to this area, at least in the short period of time. We know it's frustrating, but the city says it is absolutely essential to get this drainage work done, but it will not be permanent. I'm going to pop in there because we always get asked, what about the news we published a while back just before Christmas about Soi Buakaw going one way? The city is still exploring that. The city is still interested in doing that. They're interested in doing a test, but again, they haven't said exactly when it will happen. Probably after Songkran, because in March, every single weekend is going to be the popular music festival, which of course brings thousands and thousands of Thais from Bangkok and out of town to Pattaya. And then in April, we have what they're calling the world's biggest Songkran ever, which, by the way, they just extended the national holiday. Originally, it was the 13th to the 16th. They added an extra day to it, the 12th to the 16th. And the unofficial holiday period is going to be from the 1st to the 21st. Everybody keeps asking me and asking our team, what will be the days in Pattaya? The big day will still be the 19th. That will be the big celebration day. That will be the day that you can't move due to traffic. All of Beach Road is closed for concerts and water festivals in play. As for when water will be played, especially in areas like Soi 6, 7, 8, Soi Buakaw, probably from the 12th to the 19th are the dates that you're looking at. So those of you who are already booking flights and looking to get out of town, we wouldn't panic too much about the fact that they're making Songkran from the 1st to the 21st, because that's more about the period, like Christmas period and cultural events, religious events. Is it possible water play starts earlier? Yeah, it is possible, but that's still about a month and a half away, and we'll get to that as it gets closer. Now, for our national stories we're going to target here. The cannabis draft law, which would have made the usage of cannabis, recreational usage, illegal, did not pass through Parliament last week. Actually, it didn't pass through the Thai cabinet to even get to Parliament. Now, they called it a delay in not being approved. And they delayed it because they're looking to get more feedback from the opposition and from the public and pro-cannabis activists. Now, there had been a concert from Coldplay recently where an actor and some other famous people complained about the smell of marijuana at the concert. Because of the high profile of these people that complained, at that time the public health minister had tried to rush this draft law that would ban recreational usage and implement a 60,000 baht fine for people that were caught doing marijuana recreationally and not for medical. However, opponents to this, and by the way, marijuana being decriminalized in 2022 was always intended for medical. Recreational was never legalized. It's just a gray area. So now they're looking to close that gray area, but they're finding that that's not going to be real easy, especially because the draft law basically just said that how they're going to define people using it recreationally would be if you appear to be having fun or enjoyment from the use of marijuana. So technically, even if you had a prescription, if you're smiling and having a good time while smoking, even for a medical use, you could still get a 60,000 baht fine because you're using it recreationally. Obviously, that's a big issue. There's also a lot of concerns that that fine would be used by corrupt law enforcement, especially against tourists and foreign nationals, to try to make money. So instead, the opposition groups have offered an alternative draft in which they've stated that instead of trying to ban recreational use, implement some bans on public usage, usage at concerts, usage on beaches, with real laws and enforcement behind that. But whatever people do in the privacy of their own home, leave it out of that and stop trying to crack down on that. We'll see what happens, and we'll keep you updated on that. Now, former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, by the time you're watching this, we're actually recording this just before the date. He hasn't been paroled yet, but by the time you're watching this, he probably will have been. He is not going to have to wear an electronic monitoring device, but he is going to be on a probation period where he has to stay at his home up until August of this year, and then he is free to do whatever he wants. Obviously, not everybody is happy about this, as when he arrived in Thailand, he immediately had a medical issue, according to him and his representatives, and was taken to a hospital and has spent his entire time in prison, actually in a hospital for treatment. Activists and opponents of Thaksin have continually stated that they wanted more information on what his medical conditions were that prevented him from being in a proper jail. But the Thaksin's representatives stated that that will not happen because it's a violation of Thailand's privacy laws around health. Regardless, he's now going to be paroled. It's pretty much set and done. And we'll see if he pops back up in the public eye in the near future. Our last story we're going to leave you with is a funny story. This is the second time that this has happened in a year in Pattaya, in which a local gentleman had an unpleasant surprise in a very sensitive area of his body when he was utilizing a ring that became stuck and had to ask for the help of local rescue teams to get it off. Luckily, he was not injured. The rescue teams were able to get it off, as they have experience with this, as the same incident happened about a year prior. You never know what's going to happen in Pattaya. As always, we thank you guys for tuning in. As always, also, we want you to like, subscribe, and follow for regular updates right here from Pattaya.